everyone, it's me, Speed Force Master, and today I'm going to be making a video that is my top 6 favorite Star Wars villains. Now, keep in mind, these are just my favorites. They don't have to be yours. And also, I'd like to hear your ranking, not ranking, but I'd like to hear your list of favorites in the comments below. And they can be both canon and legends, because that's what I'm doing too. It doesn't really matter which universe you value more. It's like the same with DC or Marvel. You can still be a fan of both. You don't have to pick one or the other, as in one over the other, but yeah. And here, these are ones I think are the most badass, to the most iconic, to the most intimidating, etc. And you might already know some of them. Anyway, let's get to this. Coming in at my number 6 is Boba Fett. He is an ultimate badass. There's no denying it. He's one of the best parts of the original trilogy, even if he didn't get enough screen time in A New Hope. Like, almost at all. He's only been in one scene. But he's played a huge role in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi that made him really good. He's definitely just as important to the prequels as Anakin, as Darth Vader is. Since Boba Fett is a clone, and they were all technically pretty much Boba Fett is the reason behind the Empire in some way. That's all I can say. He's the greatest bounty hunter, and even in The Mandalorian, when he's not really revealed his full dark side, he was still amazing. And I think that in the book of Boba Fett, it's going to be really good. So yeah, I don't know what else to say other than I just like him a lot more than most other Star Wars villains, besides my top 5. And speaking of which, coming in at my top 5 is Thrawn. Now, many of you argue that he should be in my top 3 at least. I don't blame you. He's very intimidating. He's, in my opinion, the greatest threat of all Star Wars. Especially if you read Legends, you'll understand. And there are also some theories I have of how he can be the reason on how the Empire becomes the First Order, which, I might make a video on that, but it's more of something I discuss with my Star Wars friends rather than being open to the Star Wars fan base, since there are a lot of things I don't know yet. But I'm reading the Legends Thrawn trilogy, although I can still make a video on that though, now when I think about it. Anyway, and fact how he's went to unknown regions to being the reason how the Death Star was built in Legends, and was preparing for the Yuuzhan Vong War, all that stuff. And he's pretty much that type of villain where once he's onto you, you're screwed. Yeah, he's no joke. Let's move on now. Coming in at my top 4 is, I know this is going to be shocking, but Darth Vader. Yes, he's the most iconic Star Wars villain, and one of the best villains in cinematic history. He has a great origin story. In canon, they definitely made him more of a threat than he is in Legends. And I like Darth Vader so much that I've been him for Halloween twice. He has an emotional backstory, is very intense. Do I need to explain more? Coming in at my top 3 is Darth Maul. The Phantom Menace is a very underappreciated film, and it's clearly not the worst in my opinion, and Darth Maul is one of the reasons why it's not the worst. I mean, you think he was badass in The Phantom Menace? Then you need to watch Clone Wars or Rebels. Well, Clone Wars at least. He's, again, really awesome villain. He's very insane, has a deep hatred for Obi-Wan. The way how he's gotten the Darksaber and was involved with Order 66. Yeah, there's just so much to him, and other than that, very popular Sith, and I don't have any question why. Coming in at my top 2 is Emperor Palpatine. Now, I know a lot of you are pointing your guns at me for saying that him, Vader, and Thrawn are not number 1. But hear me out. The Rise of Skywalker is by far the best Star Wars movie, and Palpatine is one of the reasons why it's the best. I mean, it's my favorite. I don't know if I'd say the best. A lot of people don't like it for some reason, although I love it. It's great. He is very intense, main villain across the Skywalker saga, very cunning, and there's more, but it's too much. Now, coming in at my number 1 is Darth Jar Jar. I mean, yes, Jar Jar Binks was going to be a villain, in case you didn't know, but then they scrapped that idea. And he is number one because he's done the thing all Star Wars villains have not done. Make the audience hate him. What's more evil than that? I'm joking. Alright. Let's be serious. My number one. Darth Nihilus. If you don't know who Darth Nihilus is, look him up. Or listen to some voice impressions of him. There's more. He's more of a Legends villain than canon, since the whole Old Republic process, yeah. He's my favorite because the spiritual elements that he brings to the series. He's the most intense Star Wars villain, or honestly, he's the only Sith that is more intense than the Yuuzhan Vong, in my opinion. And he's a threat to other Sith and to the Jedi. There's a lot to him. I don't really know what to explain more other than I dislike him more than any other Star Wars villain. Well, everyone, that was it. Let me know in the comments below your list on your favorite Star Wars villains, and it doesn't have to be a top 6 or a top 10. It can be whatever list you choose.